The pushback is all that is going to save the country at this point. And the pushback is going to happen. Now, the left doesn't have any pushback to the pushback. So here is their big problem. Every way they push back is dumber and dumber. Okay, so CNN, they continue to push the idea that if you just don't want your small children sexually indoctrinated at the age of 5, this is because you're a bigot. So here's yet another chyron from CNN, the most trusted name in news, and reliable sources, the most reliable of all the sources with Brian Stelter. Here's the chyron from the other day. Quote, focus on parental rights chips away at gay rights. I have a question. Is this a battle that gay Americans really want to have? Do gay advocates really want to go to war with parents? Do they really want to say that parents who outnumber gay Americans by an extraordinary measure really are threatened by gay rights to the point where we have to curb parental rights in order to make room for the agenda of the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation or PFLAG or whatever woke employees at Disney have to say this week? Is this really the direction that they want to go? Because if so, they are going to lose. And yet the politicians keep doubling down on this, the Democratic politicians. So, for example, Eric Adams is presiding over a city where people are routinely being pushed in front of subways. And Eric Adams decided to tweet out, I kid you not, a poster just filled with the word gay in multicolored fonts. And because no one knows that word. I mean, if there's one thing in America we've never talked about is gay people. It's shocking. No one's ever heard the word gay before. And he tweeted out, quote, New York mayor announces a new digital billboard campaign in 5 Florida markets denouncing the hateful Don't Say Gay law and inviting Floridians to move to New York. And it says on this poster, quote, come to the city where you can say whatever you want. New York City loves you, with the rainbow flag. And then he says, we have a message for Florida's LGBTQ plus community. Come to a city where you can be you. Join us now at City Hall. So first of all, anybody who falls for this, please, I agree. Seriously, if you believe that Florida is a hellscape because we wish to protect small children from the predations of leftist social activists, please go. Like, the door is open. Anytime you wish to take that plane right up to New York and hang out with Eric Adams and hang out on the subway platforms over there with Eric Adams, you are more than welcome to do so. Seriously, enjoy the homelessness and the high taxation and the possibility of being thrown in front of a train. Like, really, New York is wide open to you. It is all you. Anybody who wishes to go from Florida to New York, don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out. Seriously, like, just enjoy yourself. I would also like to point out at this point that Eric Adams says you can say anything you want in New York, which is a weird thing to say considering that according to the New York Post today, quote, the Big Apple mom who crashed Mayor Eric Adams' press conference on Monday to blast him over his tot mask mandate was fired shortly thereafter from her job at the city law department, according to the New York Post. Daniela Jampel, who served as the assistant corporation counsel, learned she was canned on Monday afternoon, soon after she confronted a caught off guard and apparently annoyed Adams over whether he would unmask our toddlers. Jampel had publicly challenged the mayor at an unrelated event on LGBTQ issues as Adams stood in front of a podium banner that read, come to the city where you can say whatever you want. Jampel said, 3 weeks ago, you told parents to trust you, you'd unmask our toddlers. You stood right here. You said the mask would come off April 4th. That hasn't happened. As Jampel attempted to ask why, City Hall staffers tried to cut her off when they realized she wasn't a reporter. But Adams, seemingly miffed at the mom getting a question and allowed her to continue, although he told her she needed to come to a conclusion. Sources close to the matter said Jampel was informed by email shortly after the presser that she was fired. So, yeah, this is a city where you can say anything you want unless you cross swords with Eric Adams, in which case he will fire you from your job for asking why he is masking toddlers. Again, the left is so disconnected from reality, but do it. Seriously, do it. Advertise all over Florida that Florida is a hellscape for gays and lesbians, and anybody who's stupid enough to believe that can move to New York. I want more of this. If honestly, can Eric Adams put up billions of dollars and put those billboards up everywhere in purple and red state America? Please. Could I pay Eric Adams to do this? This seems like a great recruitment effort to get all of the insane blue state voters out of states that are on that knife's edge of purple. And meanwhile, speaking of people who are completely disconnected, Jen Psaki still can't even answer whether men should be allowed to race women. So yeah, this party is definitely in touch with reality.
In some places like the Ivy League now, there are biological males competing against women. Does the White House think that is fair?
We understand how important sports are to student athletes across the country, but the NCAA obviously puts these policies in place. What I would say, Peter, if we look at this broadly, is that we celebrated International Transgender Day of Visibility last week with a slate of new actions to ensure we are continuing do we continue to protect the dignity and identity of all Americans? And at a moment where we're looking at and we're seeing increased mental health issues related to young people, especially LGBTQ plus young people, we're providing additional funding and resources to address this issue.
So yeah, she's not going to answer whether boys should compete with girls. Also, has it ever occurred to anybody that perhaps the increased mental health issues that are associated with young people across America has to do with the simple fact that the left wing has been pushing insane social policy on young children? That maybe when you tell a bunch of young people that in their search for sexual authenticity at the age of 11 lies happiness, that maybe this doesn't actually end with happiness. It just ends with people who are having a really, really tough time in life. Because the left has been on the social ascendancy for the last 20 years in this country. And yet people seem unhappier and more depressed and more suicidal. Could that be a coincidence? Or perhaps it's not a coincidence at all. But for these folks, it's always just double down on stupid and double down on perverse. This is the way that the left thinks these days. I hope you enjoyed that clip from The Ben Shapiro Show. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you stay up to date with all our future content.